Welcome to the resistance we often resist, which is our own resistance to change. I bet you've gotten really good at identifying and labeling resistance to change amongst others. I also bet you're a little less skillful at identifying your own resistance to change, but we all have it. And it can show up in some of the following ways. First, we can all exhibit the three common types of resistance to change. So I want you to think this week about the times where maybe you show up as the what ifer, where you're scenario planning for doomsday or reminding others why lots of things won't work, or where you're wavering in your own commitment to the change, perhaps. So you've said yes on one hand, you're leading it, you've put it out there, but now maybe you're starting to get a little anxious or question yourself, and so you're stalling. Or where you've let your identity get a little too closely tied to the status quo and you find yourself consciously or unconsciously defending it. So think about where you might exhibit the three common types of resistance to change. The other way that our resistance can show up is when we become closed to tweaks or adaptations of our vision for change, or we're closed to the co-creation that others need and want and should have for the change to succeed. So we might not be as open to hearing thoughts and ideas. We're putting up that wall. Or we might resist the change that's required of us for the organizational change to happen. So we might be really good at knowing all the ways that others have to change the way they work, change how they think, so that the organizational transformation can happen. But we might be a little less aware of the ways that we need to change our behavior, our mindset. The other way that this resistance shows up is when we resist becoming the follower so that others can step up and lead. And there are times when that's necessary. And finally, we exhibit resistance when we can't or won't slow down so that others can catch up. When we're not willing to think of ourselves as being on a campaign for the transformation we're leading, because that's what this is. So the next time you're finding yourself sick and tired of having to repeat the vision or explain the concept over and over again, think about yourself like a politician on the campaign trail. Think about yourself like that man running for city council who has a vision for safer streets around the elementary schools in his community. And every town hall, every debate, every interview, every campaign stop, he's giving that same exact verbatim speech over and over and over and over, explaining why it's necessary, explaining what it will look like, answering those same questions over and over and over again about how much it's going to cost and who's going to enforce it and how long it will take and will it actually make our streets any safer for our kids. And answering those questions or absorbing the criticisms as if it were the very first time you were hearing it, as if you've not been told that a million times already, or as if you've never thought of those challenges yourself. Or think about yourself as the woman running for Congress who wants to create a clean energy economy. And everywhere she goes, all across the district, small groups, large groups, meeting with the editorial board. Again, same stump speech over and over and over and over. We can't lay out our concept for change. We can't describe what it's going to look like on the other side once. We can't give the timeline and the plan and the action items required once, and then move on and expect others to be there with us. So when we resist the slowing down, the communication, the commitment that it takes to enrolling others in our vision and letting them get to the same place we are, then we're exhibiting the resistance that we always resist. So I want you to make time this week to think about where you might be resisting and see if you can't give yourself some prompts going forward so that you can become a little more self-aware of when that resistance is starting to bubble up in you so that you can address it a little more quickly next time.